Before we get started, I want to thank Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown for sponsoring today's video. I want to tell you guys a story of just a regular schmuck who, for the past 3 years of his life, was trapped in sort of a repeated day of playing Forza Horizon 5, going to bed, waking up, and doing it all over again. It's me. In case you haven't put it together, it's me. I'm that guy. For the past 3 years, I've really only played one game. I focused on one game, and that game being Forza Horizon 5, and I'd like to think I got pretty good at it, and I did almost everything someone could do in that game by the end of week 1. And since then, I've kind of just been rinsing and repeating. And yes, over the years I have tried other games. I tried drifting in CarX, and that was a bit of a disaster. I tried Forza Motorsport when it came out, but all I felt like doing was complaining, because let's be honest, there wasn't much of a game there. I played the Crew Motorfest, which was fun for about a day until I ran out of events to keep me entertained, and more recently I tried out CarX Street, which I got a total of 30 minutes of playtime on before getting bored. But then comes along this game, this title that I had never heard of. A game called, you guessed it, Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown. Now, when they reached out with a code for me to try this game, I'm not one to turn down a free game, so I didn't say no, but my expectations were not incredibly high. I had seen snippets and pieces of gameplay, and I had read everything that had been posted on Twitter in the week of its release. So my emotions were kind of mixed. I didn't really know what to expect, but at the end of the day, I was really just expecting another CarX Street or the Crew Motorfest. However, when I booted it up, I was honestly pleasantly surprised. Now, right off the bat, if you want just a quick overview, some of my favorite parts of the game was how I felt like each car gave you a unique driving experience. Like, they're all quite different, whereas in Forza, some of the cars feel very similar. I like that they listen and we finally got a car game. Well, sort of. It's in Hong Kong, which is pretty much what the car community has been asking for a very long time. I like that there's different things you can collect within the game that aren't just cars. And not to mention, they have some of my favorite car models. The Ferraris, Lamborghini, Porsche, as the goose says, Bugatti, Koenigsegg, just like all the great ones and lots more. I like that there's kind of like a rivalry system. You get to pick a side. You can be a part of the streets or a part of the sharps. Names could use a little work, but the idea I really love. And I like that there's a ranking system. That gives me something to work towards. And that's just the high level overview if you wanted just like a quick synopsis. Something I like about a game is a short introduction. Getting into the action as quick as possible. And you know what? Car games tend to do this pretty well, and Test Drive Unlimited is no exception. Pretty much right away I was already driving, which is great because I like to get a feel for how the mechanics and the car physics are gonna handle in that game. And I'll be honest, I was completely shocked because based on lots of footage I had seen, and maybe even what you're seeing, the game looks relatively snappy. Like in Need for Speed or even the Crew, how the car snaps into place and is kind of driving for you is what I was expecting. But I was wrong. You can crash very easily. The car physics actually handle surprisingly well, which isn't the greatest news for me because I kind of rely on the car driving for me, because let's be honest, I'm not the world's greatest driver. But it's fun. It makes for a more immersive environment. Now, I wasn't playing on my steering wheel, but Goosius has said it does support steering wheels and it has force feedback, so if that's your bread and butter, don't worry, it's got you covered. But anyways, back to what made this game feel different for me. I had mentioned Forza Horizon 5 bored me after week 1, and that's for one specific reason. As nice as it is to be able to do whatever you want, I require structure. At the end of the day, after I've messed around, made all the cars I've wanted to make, rammed a million pedestrians off the road, and barrel rolled my car into a river, I like to be told what to do. I like to have some sort of engaging story to make me feel like I am progressing towards something, and Forza Horizon 5 didn't really have that for me. The story felt more like something you had to get through so that you could enjoy the game itself. But that is not at all how I felt with Test Drive Unlimited. In Test Drive Unlimited, it makes it feel like the story is the main reason you're playing the game, and if you want to take a break, there's an open world for you to drive around in, but at the end, they are pushing you to come back towards the story so you can unlock different cars and progress your character in a manner that actually makes sense within the game. Now, I do want to address at the beginning of the release, I heard many things about certain features not working and people who required early access were not necessarily getting it, and the game was crashing after certain pages, and it was just a disaster. However, I played it for the first time on the 16th of September, about a week and a bit after everyone had initially played, and in my 2 hours of playing, I didn't run into a single issue. Not one issue that stopped me from playing the game. Everything ran smoothly, I was able to adjust settings and they actually stayed to how I adjusted them. And my favorite part about any game is when I want to do something in the game, it's obvious on how to do it, like changing from manual to automatic clutching. It's obvious how to do it. I don't like having to Google how to do something. And in Test Drive Unlimited, it's very obvious. All the menus are very easily laid out, which is great because I'm a boomer that doesn't like reading. And another thing that pleasantly surprised me is it doesn't feel like driving your car is the point of the game, which is I think what I don't like about Forza Horizon 5. Obviously, if you guys have been around my channel long enough, you know I actually like the auction house section of Forza the most. I don't even necessarily enjoy driving. So in Test Drive Unlimited, when I was able to walk around, I'm able to own an apartment, which I can actually go inside. Unlike Forza, you own a house and it's pretty much just the same as the auction house. You don't actually get any interactive features. But to actually own a place that I can walk around in, and there's car showrooms that I can walk up to the cars, crouch, just take an actual look as if I were in a showroom looking at a car, it felt so much more immersive than any other car game I've played ever. It felt more like GTA's interactiveness, but mixed with Forza's open world and driving. I don't know if I made that make sense, but it's like they took the best parts of both games and put them into this. I like that things were so blatantly obvious. It was obvious which cars I could buy in the showroom when I had enough money for them, but you weren't locked out of going and checking out the other cars still. And my favorite feature, oh my god, my favorite feature, you get to try the car before you buy it. So you know, is this the car I actually want? Because you never know. You hope and you like how it looks, sure, but you have to judge the book by the cover. What TDU actually does is allow you to read the back and get an idea if this book is for you. Of course, I'm using an analogy. You get to test drive the car before you buy it to know if it handles and drives like you were actually hoping. And the best part of it, you don't even have to drive back to the showroom. You can drive to the freaking moon, because in 1 minute, it just pulls you back to the showroom. I like that. I like getting lost and then not having to worry about how I'm getting back. That was up and away my favorite part. And get this, they took Forza's barn find feature, which was okay, and they made it so much better, so much more of a scavenger hunt. Because in Forza, they give you just a general circle and you drive around and hope you run into that cutscene where it takes you and you find the barn car. Sure, that's all right. But in Test Drive Unlimited, it's like you have a metal detector. And as you get closer, you're driving around, beep, 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 beep. It starts going faster and allows you to actually find these cars, which they call wreckages, or wrecks. And it's just like Forza, you get that car for free after it's been restored or whatever. So essentially what I'm trying to say is I wish I had gotten access to this game a little sooner so that I could have played it more. I haven't tested a game in a long time, a car game that is, that I actually want to go back and play just for fun after recording a video. And in this case, I can't wait. I really want to get back and play more TDU. And don't let Steam's reviews guide your decision. definitely go ahead and read them, but you'll find a lot of them are just because the people that paid for early access couldn't get early access and they left a negative review, which is completely fair. I would too. I would be pretty bummed out. But as TDU has been out, the reviews, the positive reviews are coming in. They're actively fixing the things that were wrong. And like I mentioned, I didn't run into a single problem in the 2 hours that I played. But I assume the devs are going to watch this video, so if there's issues you're still noticing, comment them down below. Let's get it fixed. Let's make this game perfect, because for the first time in a long time, I just want to drive, baby. But anyways, thank you again to TDU Solar Crown for sponsoring this video. And honestly, they didn't even have to. At some point, I was probably going to play this with Goosius, and I would have been as pleasantly surprised. I like that you can just trash talk people in the race. I think that's awesome. It's definitely my kind of game. Hopefully it's yours too. As always, we'll see you boys in the next one. I'm out. Peace.